is In the Shadows Podcast. Lots of cigar talk, but if it's going on in the world, we'll be talking about that too. And by the way, the fellas don't shy away from controversial topics. Trust me. So grab that stick, kick back with your favorite drink, and let's do the thing. This is the In the Shadows Podcast. Now your hosts, Tony the Soy Sauce Assassin, along with Albert, Martine, and Eric.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Shadow Smokes Legion in the Shadow Podcast. I'm your host, Tony the Soy Sauce Assassin. And today we have Albert, Eric, and Martine with us. And we're going to talk about the very big news. Well, it's like a week old, or maybe two. The news about how the cigar industry, the premium cigar industry, has won its lawsuit against FDA. And basically, when we say win, it's like the judge decides to just toss the whole thing out. Says, hey, that this is not good. Try again later. Like when you guys had this thing figured out better, try again later. So there are a few regulations that was introduced in 2016 that has been rescinded in a way, I guess, not going to be put in action. But there are still other tobacco-related law that was, or regulation introduced before that is still in play. So there's a little bit of, I guess, learning, but it doesn't really affect us all that much. It affects the industry. So let's get to talk about what was introduced, what was rescinded, and what will change. Okay. So to start with this, let's talk about, first of all, the biggest change that this thing has is you no longer have to do testing for new blends. You no longer have to put what is this blend, the tobacco, the type of tobacco, what does this tobacco do, all those testing before you do a new blend and submit it to the FDA. That's number one. Number two is that you don't have to pay that, I think there's like a user fee to the FDA, some ridiculous money so that the FDA can operate and regulate you. It's like, hey, here's some money, please regulate us and make our life harder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? And the third one is the label has to take more than, 60% of the box, which that's the part that bothers me the most. Everything else is actually okay with me as a consumer, but if they ruin the box look, it bothers me.
Yeah, because we are a collector. We sought out for good looking box, presentation. And if you tell me 60% of it going to be covered by some guy coughing and dying,
no, it's just a label. It says that if smoking will kill you. Yeah, which like, oh, thanks for telling me because I already know. He's like, I already know. Like those labels are everywhere. It's not like I've never seen before. Yeah. But you just ruined my collectible box. And like those box for tobacco, I don't always have to put tobacco in there. I can put anything else in there. So that kind of
it could be like a jewelry box,
So, but also most important is that the lawsuit is only for the premium cigar, right? And then I just want to read out the definition of the premium cigar. There's 8 rules that they put in there to define premium cigar. So the premium cigar had to be wrapped, number one, wrapped in whole tobacco leaves. So the entire wrapper had to be tobacco leaf.
Yep.
It had to contain 100% leaf tobacco binder and contains at least 50% of the filler by weight long filler tobacco. So some mixed filler will still count because so long as you have more than 50% long filler, it counts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's handmade or hand rolled. And their definition that is no machinery was used in apart from simple tools such as scissors to cut the tobacco prior to rolling. Funny thing is that they didn't talk about the machine, right? Now, and the next one is there's no filler, no filter or non-tobacco tip or non-tobacco mouthpiece. And 6 is it does not have a characterizing flavor other than tobacco, which means by this definition, if you're smoking any flavor cigar, you're not smoking a premium cigar.
Yes, you acid boy out there.
And contains only tobacco, water, vegetable gum with no other ingredient or additives. And number 8 is it had to weigh more than 6 pounds per 1,000 unit, which takes away the cigarillos from that category. So pretty much most of non-flavored cigar from any premium humidor in the U.S. will count as a premium cigar. So that's a big win. I think that's pretty good for the legal system to go, hey, you guys are not doing this correctly, didn't do your due process. You guys sucks. Go back, do the whole thing again, and we'll see you in like next 10 years.
Yeah, but do the whole thing again. Like,
so that deserves that's pretty good.
Yes,
so,
that was pretty good.
Anyways, I let's go from person to person. Talk about what you guys think about this whole thing. Like, you can talk about starting from 2016 or to how it affects you, and then we can talk about how it affects the industry as a whole. Okay, so let's start with Albert. What do you think about this whole thing?
I'm not sure how much it's going to affect me personally, because the flavored, I don't know how much I'm into a flavored cigar kind of a thing. I've been trying to think about how this does affect us, and in some ways, I'm not even sure we really know how it affects us until it does. Right? That was the biggest issue. The box thing is kind of concerning because, yes, I agree. There are people who collect boxes and will they look for the artwork and the design and all that. And if you look at a box that is purchased overseas, Germany, for example, they have this big white and black sticker on the box, and it's very unsightly. And so I imagine that's going to get that's just detracts for some of the allure of wanting to purchase a box like that, or purchase that kind of, if that's part of the cigar collecting or the cigar smoking that you're involved in. But I'm glad that this is finally at a point where I guess the industry can breathe a little bit, and they can, I guess, regroup, try to decide how they're going to approach, the next round of whatever the FDA does. So, in a way, I'm glad this, a lot of people have been able to, I guess, put some of this to rest. So that's going to be pretty helpful.
Cool. Martin?
What's going on, everybody? So as far as this win, I kind of feel like for a very long time, the FDA was kind of sticking their nose in a place that they really didn't know much about. So they're trying to regulate something that they didn't know the process of how cigars were made. They didn't know that, of course, it's a small community of cigar smokers. I mean, we take up a very small percentage.
Like 1%, right?
I can't remember the numbers, but I know it's an extremely small percent. And they are literally trying to tell cigar manufacturers, owners, makers, rollers, how that they are supposed to be making these cigars and trying to limit things. And they don't even know what the hell they're even talking about. So for this win, it's just, it was kind of like, I hate to say it, but it was kind of like a, like we won because you really don't know what the hell you're talking about. So it's just, I feel like it's just, it's so much better that we kind of have, we kind of have that under the belt. And it's just a waiting game until they try to regulate something else again. But as far as the flavored tobacco stuff, I like flavored cigars every once in a while, but I don't go after like the Cuba Cubas or anything. It's more of like the sweet tip stuff and like the tobacs, like the coffee flavored stuff, but it's nothing like the really infused cigars. So it's really not, it wouldn't really affect me very much because I normally go for like the natural tobacco cigars. So that's just me.
Okay, cool. Eric?
So yeah. Tell the truth, I didn't really pay attention to this whole thing until like a year ago that I bought a CRA pack, and I didn't know what's going on until last year, and I went and support them because I think Premium Cigar is it's a luxury thing, and it's for a more mature audience, not kids that like around 20 in the 20s trying to get through college and smoke a cigar. Unless you have a filthy family, rich and wealthy, you probably don't smoke cigars, and it's not as unhealthy as they think it is. And thank God that we won, because we were calculating pricing and everything. If we actually lost this battle, we will pay a whole lot more for cigars, and there's going to be a lot of cigar company, small family, that would just probably drown because of all the fee that they try to put on them. And flavor cigar, thank God, because I don't think they should be in the same category as premium cigars, because those are the one that like kids or younger people would get into, because they would like the infused unique flavor that coming off of it, or coffee flavor. So it would just attract to more younger audience with those kind of thing. Because as men, as we grow, we have exceptional taste on unique taste on things. Like
But there's a lot of people who still smoke that.
Yeah, but I don't really care about those people.
I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, it's a big market within.
It's a huge market, but when I think of premium cigar, when I go inside a humidor, I don't look at it. I don't look at those cigars as premium. They just look like gas station cigar, right? Even the packaging is like very.
They're shaped like normal cigars, same sizes and everything. The only thing is they're infused.
But I don't know. I look at them as gas station cigar. They don't belong in the humidor. That's my opinion, though.
If they do it right, they should keep them separate. But that's beside the point.
All right, let's address a few points, right? Now let's address Albert's point first. Albert's saying that he doesn't really see an effect for the past few years, starting from 2016 all the way to now. I do see a little bit of effects, because I remember where all the companies are being very careful about what they're releasing. They don't want to release new cigar. They don't want to release new blend. A lot of stuff, they are going back into their old catalog to find grandfather in tobacco or blends to release. And that dramatically reduces the amount of flavor and stuff that they can use. And I feel like that has some effect to, like, for example, this year's cigars, everybody uses similar blend, right? Broadleaf with San Andreas and stuff like that. Everybody uses around the same blend, so that if that does not go through by September 9th, everybody will just submit the same tobacco. So we use the same tobacco, so they're substantially the same. So that we do one testing. And we did that small, quick calculation right before the show. So for a $3 cigar, if you make 5,000 cigars as a limited run, that cigar will have to be $43 after the testing fee. We're not even talking about, we didn't even add those user fee that is going to be 15 to 20 million annually for the user fee. And that would just be $43. That means per cigar, if they still go with the Keystone price range, you had to, for a $3 cigar, you now had to pay $86 for that cigar, which makes no sense, right? So let's say if that's not the case, let's say that you made more than that, you're still going near a $30, $40, $50, $60 range, which it wouldn't be, it would create a situation where unless you're the premier high-end cigar company that basically just lower their price range to fit and still sell it at $80, you're not going to be able to survive. And so the effect here is really that now cigar company can go and release all kind of different blend, all kind of different tests, trial, short runs of every different blends, and not have to worry about, okay, if this can go through, now we have to test every single blend. That's number one, right? Number two is, and I think Martin is right. I mean, they are regulating a product that they have no understanding of. Mm-hmm. They don't know what's what. They just like, okay, we can make $20 million per company a year by just regulating them. That's great. You know, we're gonna make them say, "Hey, thanks for allowing us to sell tobacco. Here's money. Go ahead and regulate us." Makes no sense. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to pay you so you can regulate me? But you know, that's what they'll try to do, and they're already doing some of that. You know, because you know, a lot of time, the old regulation which had tobacco product on already is affecting cigars. Right, the label isn't going away. It's not gonna be 60%. We still gotta get that stupid label in the corner somewhere that says, "Hey, cigars are bad for you, potentially cause cancer, whatever." Right, but it's not gonna be 60%. So it's still gotta be there. The age to purchase cigar is not gonna change. You still gotta be most places 21 and older to purchase a cigar. That's not gonna change. All right, what's gotta change is that those things that restrict them from producing cigars, for people to say, "Hey, I want to start my own cigar blend." Cigar thing for the house blend or whatever. Now they don't have to worry about that. Now they can actually do that, which is both a blessing and a curse, because some people would think that too many blends out there lower the value of the cigar, which I understand, right? And in the end, for collection, for what Eric's saying, I personally don't think, and per this definition, flavor cigars are premium cigars. Because a lot of flavor cigar to start with, there are short fillers anyway. So they're not really premium cigar to start with. They might look the same, but they don't smell or taste the same. They were product. I really honestly think that they were originally created to get rid of some really bad tobacco. Because if you put the infusion in there, it doesn't matter what it tastes like.
That's true. I never thought of that.
Right? We have a lot of leftover, back crop, whatever. Let's grind them all up, put flavor in there. Now everybody will smoke it.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
And we can sell it at the same price as close as possible to a good regular cigar. By just advertising it, you got to get that flavor. In fact, if you really want that flavor, you can go drink the flavor and it will just taste like that.
You come
For cheaper.
with the drinking.
For cheaper.
That sounds like the new challenge for Miami.
Please don't. Right? So all those things does affect us as consumer. Because now I think next year and on, we gotta have so many more choices.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be so much more blunt.
Yeah,
I don't think the price is gonna go down.
No,
I think it's not.
With this whole thing going down, there are going to be so many new blends for next year that we won't even be able to like smoke them all. It's going to be insane.
San Andreas Piro.
I think the San Andreas need to go away because there's too many blends with San Andreas.
Yeah, it's a lot, man.
Right.
Everybody using them.
But now they can actually go back to their catalog or like you know, original blend of something and go back to something boring or something they had
before.
Go
back to the root.
Yeah,
you know?
And they don't really like, you know, honestly. Now, like Juris, they can go back and say, you know, we don't really have to get rid of half our catalog anymore. Now we can bring it all out again.
Yep,
we don't have to test any of them, right? So I think what is going to affect us as a consumer is that more choices, right? More choices is number one, and more accessibility and not have to worry about our collection being, you know, put down. Obviously, I've hoped that they will go back to the old boxes because I know all the new boxes, the design they printed are preemptive to that label thing. Because I remember before that label thing even happened, you're seeing a lot of boxes already saving that 60% as a space on the front, not back, front of the box.
You think so? They did? I didn't notice.
They did. Especially Davidoff boxes, you can tell right away, like they saved that spot there.
They are ready for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They already printed the box to be that way. So it's going to take, I don't know, maybe a year or two to kind of correct that back to normal again. Because then now they had to redesign their boxes again or use the old designs again, which I'm totally fine with that. And you know, that enthusiasm of buying boxes may come back. You know, people might buy more again. People might enjoy cigar more. But again, price is not going to go down, but at least it's not going to go up. The amount that we think, because imagine somebody had to pay that kind of user fee. Imagine that you had to pay that much per cigar. If I'm a cigar company, I would never release another cigar, because one cigar means $200,000. I'm not releasing any cigars.
That's what I was thinking. Is that would probably take it completely off the table. They wouldn't sell a cigar for $43 as the example. So
yeah. They're not going to be able to do that unless you're making 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 cigars. and then balance that out to like a $20 base cost per cigar for a $3 cigar, $4 cigar. Now you keystone it, you're at $40. $40 for a basic cigar. Good luck with that.
But something else to consider is I don't think, well, based on what I understand of this, they really had not much to lose by coming out with some new blends, because they could come up with a new blend, release it as a short run or consider it a short run. And then once the requirement to spend all the money to test it came out, they could just stop selling the blend, right? Instead of having it tested. So
no, you got to get it tested before you can sell it.
They weren't paying money to have it tested already, were they?
No, they haven't got that there yet. So some cigars are grandfathered in. So if you sold that cigar before certain, like whatever specific year,
was it
those are considered
2018?
grandfathered in.
Was it 2018 or something?
I don't know. It had to be
I think
earlier
it
than
was.
that.
It was something like that. But the point was, there's been a lot of new cigars. Cigars have come and gone, right? The manufacturer hasn't left, but they started the line, they closed the line, so
right,
they would
but
not
a lot
have
of them. A lot of them were actually brought back. A lot of them were actually a grandfather blend that they can prove that they used it before, and they discontinued it and brought back. So those are kind of different. What we're saying is that any new cigars that need to be released had to go through those things to the FDA approved before they can release it, and that's after September 9th. So they barely made it. They barely made it to not have to do that.
Can you imagine if a company was like, fuck it, I'm going to just release whatever the fuck I want, and then this happens? They're like, haha. Like, I've been doing what I wanted to do this for the entire time.
I see a lot of companies doing annual releases. And I think that's the reason. Because I'll release this year, I release next year, I release next year. If something goes up, we stop. Because it's not going to be our regular release.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Yeah, it makes better sense in some ways, actually.
But that kills it. I think some annual release can actually be a regular release now. Like, for example, something like, can you imagine egg roll coming back now? Because now they don't have to test it. Because it wouldn't be sustainable to test the egg roll at $4 a cigar.
Right.
So now they can go and say, okay,
now
we don't have to raise it. Yeah, it's a $4 cigar.
Yeah.
They should call it the leftover. They should call it the leftover Chinese food.
Right? All that stuff that they test run as like a joke almost. Now they can make it like an annual release and there'll be no problem. Because now they can actually deal with that at $4. Because if they continue to release that as a regular line, they're not going to be able to do that once they have to submit that information over. So you can see a lot of I think that's why Punch was releasing 4 different cigars to see which one is more popular. And maybe if they had to do, or was it 4 or 5? 5, right? Now with the Fu Manchu is 5. No, with the egg rolls, spring rolls 5. With the spring rolls 5. So they can tell which one's more popular. And if they have to do it, they can pick one and do it.
Yeah.
Right? But now they don't. They can just, I'm going to release all of them.
All of them. That's regular production.
Yeah, because they don't have to deal with it for at least another 10 years.
That's true.
Because how long was this fight? 2016? That was like
2016.
8 years. That's almost 8 years of fight. So for the FDA to do this again, they're looking for another 8 years. So we got 8 years to release whatever it is. And even if they lose, at that point, we got 8 years with the new cigar blends.
Yeah.
So I think that's the benefit. That's the win that we all were looking for. Even though before they're not even looking for the court to just throw the entire thing out. They're just like, okay, we'll review it, rather than like, we'll stop it for now, we'll review it. Now they're just like, we'll throw this out, you guys need to do this again.
Yeah, they have to start over, which, holy crap, that take a lot of manpower to do.
Yeah, and a lot of money. And now all those company who already paid the user fee is looking for that money back.
Yeah, and who's going to pay for that?
FDA, and that which means your tax money.
Oh, shit.
Right? So, well, actually, I wouldn't think it's your tax money. I would think that you purchase money, because whatever you buy, food-wise, had to pay the FDA. Yep. So that's where the money's going to go from. So food might go up in price. Who knows? But
food already going up, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But overall, if I'm FDA, I wouldn't try that again, because if I got to refund, 10, 15, 20 company, $20 million per company, well, maybe now, I don't know. There's a number for that.
Is there a number?
Okay, the fees are $100 million per year for all cigars. That's a lot of money to refund, because
100 million?
2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 8 years, that's $800 million that has
That's
to
a
refund.
lot of money.
Well, you think they have that money? I don't think they have that money.
They don't.
Yeah, do you think FDA has that much cash to pay back right now?
Time to take out a loan.
I highly doubt that. So now they got to run into debt. It's great. And I really don't think FDA in the US do a good job, because some of the things is just disgustingly okay with the FDA. You are allowed to have certain amount of like cockroach legs or a certain part of a rat in your canned food, and that's considered okay. It should be zero. It should not have any cockroach legs or like a rat head or whatever to be okay. It should be zero. But they're okay with that. They're okay with certain things that may kill you, but certain percentage. They're okay that you can put a bunch of things together and say flavoring and then call that one thing, but you don't know what that is. They're okay with all that. They're okay for the US to ship raw chicken to China on a ship to be processed, cut up, packaged, and ship it back from China.
Oh, damn.
That's a whole ship of salmonella. So I don't know. I don't think the FDA is an expert in food, really. I really don't think they are. I think they're just like, okay, whatever that makes sense, kind of. Everybody just sit in the office throwing dots and ideas, and then we just take those and then make it into a law.
Try to run with it, but then sometimes it fails. So,
Right? I don't think that's a good thing. I have no problem with them banning flavor cigars, but then again, it's not the federal that's banning it's not the FDA that's banning the flavors. It's the states that are banning the flavor cigar stuff. So I can completely understand that. I'm not gonna fight that. If they want to get rid of all the flavor stuff, go for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it starts with the flavor stuff, right? You know?
I mean, it starts somewhere and then you move over. But then again, the flavor stuff, I can see why it's targeting people who are not a regular smoker or who doesn't even know how to smoke that stuff.
Yep.
Because there's really no way of us telling whether or not those flavor stuff are good for you.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Right. So, that flavor stuff, whatever they're using, might be bad for you and might contribute to even more health issues that we already know and assess as a risk, right? Because everything has a risk, right? Drinking soda has a risk. So, I mean, it adds to a risk that we wouldn't otherwise know. Like people who are into vape, they are so addicted to vape because of flavoring. The vape can be completely flavorless, no tobacco whatsoever, just flavoring, but they're addicted to the flavoring. So flavoring can get you, like sweetness can get you. Sugar is the number one most addicting substance that humans consume.
That's true.
So by making the cigar sweeter, what tastes like a certain things, that can get you somewhat addicted to that flavor. And I think that's a problem too. I don't really want to get into that problem where FDA to say, because these things these flavor are causing addictions, now we got to regulate flavor in a cigar. Now, once it go like anything that tastes like fruit is gone. Okay, now we're in trouble. Any cigar that tastes like orange, TAO, is got to go.
But it's tobacco.
Right? In any tobacco, they had to find all the tobacco that tastes remotely citrusy and get rid of it. I don't want to get into that.
Good.
So,
and I suspect that you talked about is the FDA the experts? Well, along that same lines, I think you have to kind of think about how they approach this cigar situation. Is it seems like that they were looking for comments from the industry, right? They were looking for information about the health aspects of cigar smoking, and they were looking for the industry to provide that there was input that the industry could make on that, right? I suspect that the FDA is probably doing that in other industries as well, where they're looking for their input into the safe practices of food handling and things like that. I think it reaches a point where the they do have to raise a certain level of standard or whatnot, right? Because, if you leave it completely up to the industry is going to go with the cheapest route, and the risk and all that may not be manageable or tolerable. But I suspect that that's probably what the FDA is doing, and they're getting money from the industry in order to maintain that, right? I mean, I think there are other like I think UL is I forget what the UL Underwriters Laboratories, right, is a standards for different electrical things and so forth. Well, companies will have bought into that system so that and to hold themselves accountable to that system. So I think the regulatory is not always Big Brother telling the industry what to do. I think it is a partnership to some degree, and that's where the politics kind of come in. That's where the problems start to kind of develop, because big companies can kind of squash smaller companies in the regulations and things like that. So it's not just cut and dried, I think, as a lot of people might think it is. I think the cigar industry probably could have helped themselves a bit more by better defining what a premium cigar is. And I don't think there was a consensus about what a premium cigar is, right?
Okay, Albert. So like before we get too far, okay, I get what you're saying, but you do know the reason why this lawsuit was tossed out is because when the cigar industry submitted the opinion and research that FDA themselves did, they ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
And the comments, the feedbacks, they ignored it. So when you say that they're hiring, people who are experts in food safety and all that stuff, they're cherry picking their data. That's for sure.
Of course.
So it really doesn't help. It really doesn't help. So to put a trust into a government entity that cherry picks the data and do whatever they want towards the goal that they want to regulate, to further regulate, that doesn't put a lot of trust in that. And then, whatever food companies doesn't fit that regulation, they would say, hey, we pay you a little more money, or we'll lobby you to do this and that, so long as you adjust that percentage from 0% to 1 or to 5 or to 3%.
Sure.
And they did that, which is not trustworthy. So for me to even think that they are really looking out for the consumers' wellness, I don't believe that, because there's so many things out there that kills you that we eat.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree 100% with that, with what you're saying, that yes, they can throw the data out. They can look at the data. By the same token, the industry can maybe not produce the best data as well. And that's a possibility, because they're going to be looking for data that's going to benefit them as an industry. Right. And so,
and I think the premium cigar industry did have a definition, but it's just that is it 5-item definition, or is it 8-item definition, or is it 10-item definition? That's where it goes, right? Because I think that originally when I learned about premium cigar, they didn't talk about weight by weight, like how much cigar has to be. I know what at one point they will try to say premium cigar is any cigar that's more than $12, and that's ridiculous, because now we're talking about $3 cigars, not premium cigar.
Economies change, right? So, right.
Yeah, but I think everybody can agree on the few points of a premium cigar is that it's 100% tobacco, right? It's handmade, right? And it has nothing but tobacco in it, other than the glue gum that they use, the vegetable gum that they use.
The pexin.
And they agreed those few important part of it are what defines premium cigar, and the rest is just to separate themselves from the cigar that are from the gas station, because they call themselves cigar too, and they really has that kind of construction as well, right? They have 100% tobacco, tastes like crap, and whatever that is. So it's when you have a definition like that, you are is inclusion versus exclusion. So they have to have more rule to exclude it, but it's harder because somebody can just find one missing exclusion and make a product and call that premium cigar.
Do loopholes and things of that nature. I agree with that.
And so I think that's where the disagreement is. Like, okay, so if I make a cigar that is the right size, the right stuff, but it's not the right weight, why wouldn't it be premium cigar? Lancero is going to be very light. Why if I make a short Lancero?
Right. And I think the FDA came in with the weight issue more for possibly a taxation kind of a thing, where they could maybe tax things a certain way or whatnot.
Right, and I think that's the thing. So I think that there is a definition, but the definition is differ from people to people. That is how many items in that definition.
Right.
Because I know the first 3 or 4 is the same.
And if you think about the industry again, are they really? I mean, yes, they probably have a good consensus on this particular topic, but do they have a consensus on other things? Right. I mean, they clearly want to do things a certain way, traditional way, their way. They want to do it a different way because it's not traditional now. So the industry does kind of trip over itself, I think, a little bit by not developing a more of a hard standard in that regard. So I wonder if, it wouldn't behoove the cigar industry to get some really good independent data about the health effects and things like that and see where the information goes. But they could be, that could be a very dangerous track to take as well. So,
and also JC Newman's cigar is a machine made, right? I remember seeing that video where they just show off their factories are like mostly machine.
They make a lot of machine made cigars, yes.
But they consider themselves premium cigar.
Well, because they make a lot of cigars that are also hand rolled.
Well, but that's the thing. You don't know which one is half roll, half hand roll, machine roll, whatever. Because from that video that was online, they just have a machine that pumps out rolled cigar, and they look like Robusto size cigars.
Yeah, they're bundle sticks. So a lot of their bundles that they sell to JR Cigars are just they're cranking out bundles and bundles and bundles. But they also make Brick House and a lot of other premium brands.
Yeah, so those bundle cigar, do you guys consider it a premium cigar?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know, right? We don't know. How do we know? They can tell us that is, long filler, mixed filler. They can do long filler and still machine made. That's a problem, right? So now that's where JC Newman might want to go, hey, we want to, I don't want to say that, it's like gotta be 100% machine hand roll. I think that some part of it can be machine, and then we're gonna get to that same
that's where
argument
fragments.
About what's machine and what's not.
And that's where the industry fragments itself, right?
Right, because some company I want to pump out 100,000 cigars a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, the argument right now is like premium and not.
There's no way for us to prove that let's say Pappy Verenco is hand rolled. There's no way. They can be machine rolled.
I would hope so.
Right? The JC Newman America is that machine roll or hand roll? I can't tell.
No, that's hand rolled.
Well, let's hope that's
How do you know
hand-rolled.
that? They have a factory that can machine roll. How do you know they hand rolled it?
Well, because they have 2 specific people who are only allowed to roll that cigar.
And right, but they can say that, but there's no way to prove it. They don't have a log which one is rolled by who. Right? I mean, we already went through that whole thing about, the Lieberman machine and stuff like that. Now that's hand rolled too. So
yeah, so the Lieberman machine, the Lieberman machine, is that still considered hand rolled?
I don't think so.
It's hand cranked, not hand rolled.
Sure it is.
Yeah. So
it's hand rolled. Of course it is.
If that's hand rolled, then the people
that's hand rolled. Then any machine I press a button to move it, then it's a hand roll too.
So the machine at JC Newman that pump out those bundle, those are hand rolled because somebody had to put tobacco in there, right?
No, those are machine rolled.
Machine rolled.
No,
those are machine rolled.
Someone use a hand to press the machine. The machine does it, toss it down, and the guy can pick it up, roll it down the aisle, so the next person can deal with it.
Yeah,
hand rolled.
Yeah, so hand rolled, right?
Yeah, that's the thing about definition, right? So, if it benefits them, they will say is hand rolled. If it doesn't benefit them, it's a company that only deals with the actual hand roll. They will say that's machine, right? So it's like, which one's what?
So this is the heart of the whole thing. This is the heart of this conversation. What we're talking about right now is how do you regulate that? How do you fairly regulate that?
But that's the thing. Is that something that could be regulated or should be regulated?
Or should be regulated, right? That's I guess
it's
that's
why would you regulate production? Right? That's like saying that I gotta regulate Chinese restaurant can no longer use a machine automatically stir fry.
What the?
They have restaurant that does that.
I
And
didn't
then
know
most
there was such
factory
thing.
kitchens are like that. They dump all the ingredient, press a machine, that thing rolls.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
they cook
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
right?
So to get on this side of to discuss this aspect of it, when you were talking about the highly infused cigars and are they safe for us, that's why you have to that's where the regulation argument or conversation comes in, because you're buying something, you don't know if you're harming people don't know if they're getting harmed by it, so there should be some transparency to that, right, so that you know what you're buying. So
But
with
they're
that,
already putting that label on there. They're saying that this product will kill you. They already say that.
well, they're saying it'll kill you, but but there's different levels of harm and risk and things like that.
Or they don't tell you this product has 20% chance to give you cancer. They say this product will give you cancer, period.
Wait, what product are we talking about now?
Right, but
Right? You know, all tobacco has a label says this,
yeah.
tobacco contains
It will give
nicotine,
you-
is known
yeah.
to give you cancer.
Yep.
You know,
There is
and
no percentage.
pretty much every product in California has that same label,
sure.
right?
Well,
and they
but
don't
we
tell
know-
you what is the chances. They don't say that will increase your chance of getting cancer by 20%. They don't say that.
But what we've learned from cigarettes and how those are manufactured in the reconstituted tobacco and so forth, and all the additives that they put into that process, and in part we know about all these things because they went to court, right? They were highly regulated, became highly regulated, and lawsuits formed because of the practices and things like that. So it uncovered a lot of the bad practices that they were doing, and how much more harmful the cigarettes are to more of a natural product, right? So,
but what leads to that was because a lot of people are dying from lung cancer,
sure,
and there's a number for that. There's actually a study for that, right?
agreed.
So until FDA can prove it and do a study of people who's dying from cigar smoking only, then they really have no right to regulate it, because they haven't proven the danger of it,
Right.
right? But you can prove that the flavoring stuff is attracting younger people,
Yeah,
or
true.
Yeah.
people who doesn't usually
Oh
smoke,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, new smokers.
Right.
right? You can prove that. That's
I would
something
say
you can
new
prove. That's
smoker,
something
yes.
that you can tell right away. That if you take 10 people that never smoked in their life, and one person that smoked, lead them in there, that 10 people, more than half of them is going to choose a flavor, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's just showing them that those things are attracting them versus a actual premium cigar.
I think a couple of years ago, I was watching a documentary I think it was called Stink, and it had to do with how perfume is a protected product, that perfume makers do not have to give up how they make their perfume, what things they put in it, because it's like their intellectual property and for them to share how they do these things to the FDA. I think it's the FDA is who regulates them. Then they would be giving up their intellectual property, and therefore they wouldn't be able to make a living, right? They wouldn't be able to run their business. And so perfumes have this special classification, and that was the gist of the whole documentary. And it kind of makes me think about this situation with the infused cigars, right? They don't have to tell you what they're infusing them with. The disclosure for that is there's not any, right? Cigar makers don't even have to tell you how they make their cigars. They could be saying, we do this, we do that, but we have to take their word for that, right? And it makes me kind of wonder, or is it that kind of a situation where they are somewhat of a protected class, a protected product, where they're not having to do this because there's not a proven harmful effect to it, like you're saying, Tony. Like there's not so many people dying from cigar smoking, and so then therefore there's not a need to regulate that. But I wonder about the infused situation, because yes, we don't really know what they're being infused with. You truly
honest,
don't know
what are they being infused with.
Right. When you think of like acid, is a cigar I can think of that's the most. There's another one called Elevation, I think it was called, that's really got a weird smell to it. And I think they're actually from a company up in Chicago. And and that thing smelled like crazy. So, what do you say about that kind of situation where, does the FDA need to step in so that we know what we're smoking when we're dealing with the infused stuff?
Yeah, I think they need to look into what the hell they're infusing it with, because if you fucking smell that acid 10 or 10-year anniversary or whatever it was, that thing smells like a freaking like poopery. It's the stuff you would literally put in your bathroom.
And here's the thing, though. I think cigar making process is relatively transparent. There's not one company out there will say, you are not allowed to tour our factory to any of the FDA. Because they invite people to come learn the process. Yeah. They invite people to see what they use.
Yeah,
the only thing you don't know is the infused shit.
Yeah, that's true.
So cigar itself, the premium cigar industry is pretty transparent. Everybody loves to show how the cigars are made.
Mm-hmm.
How that, from farm from seed to leaf to fermentation. You get to see all that if you go to like bong smoker, right? There's nothing secret. You walk in there, it's the same factory, right? People go to cigar tours all the time, just like beer. Is beer making process a big secret? No, you can tour beer making factories.
Yep.
There's nothing to it, right? So it's just the tweaking of the blend that is the hard part. But whatever that is on there is the same.
And the actual the company that's doing it, right? Because there's some companies will be more transparent than others. Some companies are having their stuff rolled by other tabacaleras, so you're not going to be able to enter those particular factories, right? And going back to JC Newman, you still don't know if what you're smoking is going to be made, is handmade or machine made.
Yeah,
I'll take what I said back, okay, a little bit. So I say transparent is to a point, okay? So any of those cigar blend that is undisclosed, you're sketchy as hell. You are sketchy as hell to call honest, your cigar blend undisclosed.
Stop undisclosing your stuff, man. Like, stop.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
If you want to do something illegal, stop doing something illegal, right? We are, don't put Corojo in there and say we're gonna do it undisclosed, but people think it's Cuban. Don't do that. Sketchy as hell.
Yeah.
Right. There's only so many places that make tobacco. Don't be sketchy.
It's just a reason for them to charge more for the customer.
Right.
Yeah,
and then
when you charge more,
sure you're not using Cuban tobacco.
You would think that they would want them to.
Cuban tobacco.
You can't.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
But
some companies are sketchy like that, and that includes Davidoff. Don't be so sketchy about this. Just tell us what it is. Even though it doesn't mean a lot of things to most people, it will not mean a lot of things to most people. And you're not really protecting your blend because no one's gonna make the same blend that tastes like yours, or try to, because they would then at that point they would just compare two cigars to see which one's cheaper and buy that one. It one makes no sense. But I think in the end, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a fair question to ask. I mean, the very beginning part of that documentary Stink was this guy buys his daughter some pajamas or some shirt or something from one of those girly, where the little girls get their little earrings and hair braids and all that kind of a place. I forget what it was called, but so he orders it and it comes and they open up the package and there was a smell that just emanated that was just chemical. It was a chemical smell. And he calls up the 1-800 number. It's like, hey, can you tell me what's the smell is? Like what did y'all use to, is this going to harm my kid or is this a good thing, a bad thing? And they would not explain what it was. So I think if we were to call up Drew Estate and say, hey, what's this acid? What's in this acid? What am I smoking here? Do you think they would disclose that? Do you think they would tell us?
I think they would. They will say this is made out of the Dominican tobacco, wrapper, leaf, and then go. The rest is flavoring.
Right, and that's the
natural
point.
Flavoring.
Natural flavoring.
So what's the natural flavoring, right? How does that work?
They're like, we know it's natural. We don't know what's in there.
That's
it's
a
proprietary.
Proprietary,
exactly. Natural blend. But when you say something like a jewelry and stuff like that, I don't think they know because they cater another factory to make those shit in the cheapest way possible. So they obviously use chemical process to make it look like a jewelry, but it's not really. It's a plating process that makes it smell. So I don't think they actually know 1-800 number. Those customer service people just got caught into those questions that they have no answers to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and it started a whole documentary where he went all the way around. He went all the way around the horn on it. Where there were some companies that were putting some things in their clothes that was harming kids, like literally, creating issues for them. Cancerous. Actually, some things were causing some cancer for them. That is probably a California thing, but you know what I'm saying. But nonetheless, but we didn't get to know those things because it was protected under this whole perfume clause in the protection of that product. So it's an interesting problem. And it extends far beyond just perfume. I mean, it goes into scents for your clothes, like you wash your clothes in.
Like
those
people-
scents are protected. Yeah, like
Like
anything
people
that has,
constantly-
yeah, any kind of smell, whatever, is protected typically in the whole industry. It's kind of weird.
No, they should, and then they should protect cigar too, because cigar, we're tasting the smell. So, but yeah, in the U.S., to sue for anything or trademark anything, you had to give up your recipe. So I don't know how they trademark the scents for that perfume, because you can't unless you give up the ingredient.
That's the whole thing. They don't have to, like that.
Well, they can probably give up the ingredient, just not the percentage, because like they're this chemical, that chemical, like the very bottom scientific name for it, and there's no way to know how to make it.
Well,
they don't
that's
have
the
to
problem.
give this person of that, this and this.
That's the
Well, we
problem.
know it's from puke. So
Or just like makeup, they're not gonna tell you that it's from this bug, that bug, this bug. It's all the coloring came from something, right? So
Yep. But that is the heart of the whole problem with that, is that they do not have to disclose any of that, and they get trademarked anyway.
yeah, we should do that for cigars. I honestly, I don't think cigars should be trademarked, because it's like making like fried rice. Imagine you go trademark fried rice.
Right.
oh my god.
I think you should not be able to trademark any consumable goods, because you have to eat it.
I don't know, man.
Baklava is baklava.
I think if Panda Express makes a fried rice a certain way, man, if I go to another Panda Express, it should taste the same. You know what I mean?
Right, but then like if they trademarked it, that means nobody else can make that fried rice.
Okay. Yeah.
So now good luck eating fried rice ever. Even though they didn't invent fried rice, they trademarked the recipe.
That's kind of crazy, yeah.
You'd be
Think
the
about-
only
Yeah,
one
can you
making
imagine
it.
Burger King go and trademark hamburger
Oh
and then
my
trademark
God.
it as 2 buns in the meat in the center, but plus a slice of cheese? Now you can no longer buy hamburger anywhere else.
I'd
I
be
think
mad.
they probably do the seasoning, right? The seasoning
No,
they use.
they don't have to. Why trademark just the seasoning? I'll trademark the entire thing, so you can never make another hamburger, right? You can never make another. I'm gonna put the design of the hamburger: 2 buns and then meat in the center, lettuce, tomato, cheese. So if you're any similar, you have 2 buns and a meat in the center. Well, good luck. Here comes a
Nope.
lawsuit.
No, become like McDonald's with the Big Mac, 3 buttons.
No, it doesn't matter. You still have the top bun, the middle bun, and the center still have meat.
Yeah.
Now
But the
it's
center still have
close
another
enough.
button, so it's different.
It's close enough. You're just stacking it. It's close enough, right? So any consumable goods should not be able to be trademarked, because everybody else should be able to make that. Imagine that, like next time you're doing a barbecue party at home, somebody serve you a lawsuit. Burger King decided to sue you because you're making hamburger in your backyard without license. Yeah. So consumer goods should not be do that. And here's the thing: we know a lot of cigar tastes very similar. The blends are probably the same, probably very close.
Very
We're
close.
talking about
yes.
difference between a nip of a leaf versus not, right?
Yep.
So a lot of them taste very similar. So if they were to trademark that, then another company cannot make something similar, then we're screwed. We're screwed. Like the price will just fluctuate so much. We can't. As a consumer, I hope that there's got to be a lot of different blends, and I hope that they never had to regulate something like that. And I definitely hope that, today I just did a review. I say, the New World cigar is like an art. It will have so much variation. People came up with so much things that aren't available anywhere else. It's just a combination of the same thing, right? There's only so many tobacco leaves out there, so many combinations out there, but they were able to make variation of those and create art on those. I hope that they will never trademark. Imagine a company that just have a huge portfolio and decide to trademark all those things. Now the other company can never come out or send them something similar or use majority of that as a base, right? Imagine somebody decides to get, okay, I know what's in Sangre Nueva. I know they put KFC in there. and I want to do something else and put KFC in there. And somebody else said, no, you can't because we already trademark a cigar with KFC in there. Now you can never find out, even though it tastes different. It just had to be a percentage alike to violate a trademark, right? So, and then that wouldn't go anywhere. We will lose. In the end, the consumer lose. When they fight, when they decide to go against each other and fight like that, consumer loses.
Yeah.
But when they try to fight each other with innovation, that's when consumer wins. Right?
Yes, I love it when they fight each other with innovation because, man, we be having blends all over the place, boy.
Right? Like they came out with the innovation that has different flavor, different sizes, different design, just the design alone can give you a different feeling of smoking that cigar.
Oh yeah, it changed your whole mindset when you look at a cigar.
And they maybe have to change the definition of hand roll. Really, like they can say it's rolled a certain way, a certain pressure, whatever, and it's considered good enough. I'm okay with that. Because how you gotta define someone that rolled the cigar on their legs? Is that hand roll or leg roll?
That's hand leg roll.
Right. So now it's not premium cigar because the hand leg rolled.
Leg rolled cigar.
Right. So there's gotta be something to it. I'm okay if they came up with a way to make a consistent cigar, but at that point you take away something from this allure of cigar smoking. You take away a little bit of that feeling of this things being premium because now you mass produce them. So there should be a definition that changes a little bit, whereas premium cigar will be hand rolled or majorly hand operated or something like that to be considered as premium cigar. And that way we don't have a fight on it. And, the cigar company can be honest and say, yeah, you know what? We rolled the last hand. So the first part of it, bunching, cramping them together, putting the mold, those part are machine, and we rolled the last part. That's fine. Okay. Be honest. Be honest. And then charge us an honest rate, right? And then those ones that says from the beginning to the end, it's all hand. No machine other than knife or cutter. Those can charge us more. I'm okay with that. Just be honest.
So
I think if they're honest, a lot of the government will have a harder time to regulate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they're not going to come together on that, and unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. There's too many chiefs if you want to look at it that way, and they're going to do things the way they want to do it, describe it they want to do it. The whole tradition and all that comes into play, and how we're following tradition, so we can't change our definition because of this or that.
Well, but then that people are piggybacking on that tradition. They're not really following the tradition, but they're piggybacking that tradition.
They're piggybacking it, right? And so the only way I think you truly get a hard and fast definition for all those things you're talking about is that you regulate it. And look what we have when we do that.
If they go and after that they go and try to regulate something like that, like, hey, define a premium and a non-premium. I'd be happy to support them, actually.
Oh yeah, if they want to regulate by defining it, that's a different story. If FDA want to define, that's fine. Don't regulate them, but define them. I think that's a good step forward.
Oh yeah.
Like before we regulate you, I want to define you, so we'll have categorized things. So the consumer knows what is a cigar, what is a flavor tobacco goods, and what is a premium cigar. I think that's a good step forward. If you want to do regulation, but before regulation, you defined it, right? Because I know that they're gonna try to regulate in the future when they have everything together again, but define it, right? If we don't have a good definition, the consumer doesn't know, right? If you want to, right now they lump everything together and try to run it with that, right? And that's where they fail because they lump everything together. All tobacco product follow the same rule, and that's why they fail.
Yep.
Right. But once they define it and separate it, flavor stuff. Tiny cigarillo, gas station, if they want to call those, and premium cigars, define those, and now you can see which one is the easy target and go regulate those.
Very easy.
Right? If you want to go regulate gas station cigars, go for it. And those got to be your big money because they lump together with cigarette all the time.
Oh, yeah. Right? And a lot of people buy them, not to smoke them,
and then you can regulate your flavor because all the other states already agree that those cigars are attracting people, are harmful, and we have no idea what they are. And a lot of states already banned it to start with. So those are your easy target. Go for those. Leave our premiums alone. Right? So, we are at our
FDA,
1 hour mark.
You listen.
FDA is not going to listen to this. So any last words, everybody, before we close out for the day?
No, nothing here.
No.
Albert?
But good work, boys.
All right. Okay.
Well, enjoyed talking with you guys about it. It was a lot of fun.
I think a lot of people want to know some detail on this. I hope that everybody learn a little bit from this. It's just the details of it, not actually it's a good conversation that we always have. So I want to put it out there that, we'll continue to put out these episodes. I hope you guys enjoy listening to it. Right now we have in all platforms except for YouTube. We do have that, and then a YouTube platform allow people to comment. It's going to be a week late, and I really feel like that give everybody like a little time to think about this conversation and go ahead and go over there, the YouTube part of it, and put down your thoughts and conversation comments. And so we can, continue this conversation, and any of the things that we missed in our conversation, we can address that in a later episode. Okay. So, I feel if you like this show, you like the podcast, please recommend to other people to listen to. And, that drives us to do more. And if you like us enough, you can also find us on Patreon to support us, because this thing does cost a lot of money to do. All right. So, we're not asking for a lot. If you do decide to support us on Patreon, you can find us at on Patreon, Shadow Smokes Legion. If not, that's totally fine. We'll continue to put out quality contents for you as we go. Now, we also have special interviews. Right now, we are putting out in a frequency of twice a month. So keep eye on those when they come out. It's small interviews with, random people if you want to hear them. Other than that, this is our episode, and we're checking out here. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
See you guys.
See you later.
See you.
You've been listening to the In the Shadows podcast. There's nothing like a fine cigar, and that's our passion. And on the show, we'll talk about everything and anything cigars. And you know what happens when you get a bunch of guys together smoking cigars. The conversations go on. And that is what this show is all about. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. Remember, everything you need is on YouTube at Soy Sauce Assassin. The live show is every Wednesday and Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And get cigar reviews. Wishing you long ashes. We'll see you next time on In the Shadows podcast.